asked a very strange question. Who touched me? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being at Dong Dae Moon Yoke or Seoul Yoke? And you're going to do that? Who touched me? Come on. I think you're a little, And the disciples thought this. Why do you ask that question? You're in this big crowd. Why do you ask who touched you? But Jesus said, oh, it's a special touch. Not the usual touch. Because power came out of my body when someone intentionally grabbed my raiment. I want to know who it was. Oh, wow. He felt the power leave. Well, the woman, as we say, it says there that she had a bleeding problem for 12 years. You look in Leviticus 15:25, it talks about when a woman or even a man has a bleeding problem, kind of like that, they are to be, they're actually unclean. You weren't supposed to touch them. Every place they sat or lay down was unclean, had to be washed. Okay? And she could not attend the synagogue for 12 years. I just can't imagine being outside the community of believers for 12 years. Wow. I was in Israel and lived on a kibbutz. And of course I wanted to go to church on Sabbath day. But in Israel, interesting enough, on the Sabbath day there is no public transportation. They close everything down. There's no buses running on Sabbath. They stop running about an hour before sunset Friday. They start running again after sunset on Saturday, but no buses. And I could not get even to a church. I could not get anywhere. And I actually went 6 weeks without attending service. And I was drained spiritually, physically. I really cried out to the Lord, I've got to get to church here. Please provide. And He did. I found people that would give me a ride. And I did find ways of getting there. Sometimes I hitchhiked. But going 6 weeks without church was devastating for me. I just can't imagine a woman there cut out from the synagogue for 12 years. This other family is having the joy of their life. Their little girl coming to synagogue, worshiping Lord, singing praises, hearing praises, maybe from a choir, hearing the Word of God expounded to them. 12 joyous years while this woman is outside the synagogue. 12 years. She looks for medical help, but the Bible said she got worse and worse, even though she spent lots of money. That is so frustrating. She's now very poor. She spends her money on physicians. They do her no good. It continues to get worse, and I think the indication is she's calling out to God during this time to help. You know, her situation is kind of symbolic of our situation outside Christ. Nobody can help us in our situation. Only Christ can. Anyway, she heard the stories of Jesus healing people. She heard that, says, oh, I just got to go there. She knew she's unclean. She did not go to him and say, oh, place your hand on me so I can be clean, because that would make Jesus ceremonial unclean. So she said, oh, if I could just touch his garment, that should be good enough. I won't touch his hand, not his body. And she was just touching actually the outside fringes of his coat. She got there and then she took a good hold on, then she was healed. And Jesus felt the power coming out of his body to her. That's what he asked. Who gave me this special touch? And she was, well, a little embarrassed. She was a little fearful. But Jesus wanted her to identify herself so she could acknowledge where her healing came from. He wanted to encourage her. And then she said, yes, it was me. And she said, well, be of good cheer, daughter. That's a very endearing term.